So hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Mia Dev Radio. Today we have a very special guest and in a different country altogether. So I've been traveling to Mumbai and met a dear friend of mine who runs a community with the name Dear Azure.
Yeah.
And so Kasam, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good, and thank you very much for having me in this time, in your vacation time rather.
But yeah, so it was a very unique perspective where I wanted to understand how things work in this region, and we wanted to know more about how we actually take the developer community more forward over here. So Kasam, before we start, we wanted to know more about what you do. How do you manage a community here in UAE, in Mumbai?
India. Yeah.
Yes, and tell me more about yourself.
Okay, so I work as an cloud solution architect with a company named Capgemini here in India. And along with that, I also run, as you said, a Dear Azure community. It's an Azure AI group, you can say, running it from last 3 to 4 years.
Amazing.
And now it has an huge followers, you can say, or group members around 10,000 plus.
That's
all organic LinkedIn professionals.
That's great.
So it's all about the development or the community work and events which I do follow. And yes, to manage both the things, it's sometimes quite difficult, but it all depends upon your passion and interest and how you get the response. And believe me, here in Mumbai, in India, the response is amazing. So it really helps you, it really motivates you to keep doing these things.
That's amazing. So I think what you mentioned right now is the key to this, which is your passion.
Yeah.
So passion makes all this possible, and
Absolutely.
I 100% agree. I still wanted to know, where was this spark happened? So how did you start?
Okay, so this all happened around 2015. There was one event series used to happen from Microsoft, that is Azure Vidyapit here in Mumbai.
Okay.
Wherein there was a weekly or bi-weekly events happening in Microsoft Office here, and with some different topics of Azure. So I'm talking about when we had only 27 services in Azure.
Okay.
I'm talking
yes,
at that time.
That time.
Yeah. And I was into my previous organization, and I used to extensively work with Microsoft technologies. But then when around 2014-15, Azure started trending up, and we formed a research kind of Azure practicing team, wherein our role was to see how we can leverage this Azure services to our existing clients.
Okay.
And from there it all started. So my task, or rather my area of interest, was to dive in each of the services and see how we can relate it with the existing. I'm from .NET background, so
yes,
it's like it was a boon for me at that time for work with Azure. And that's how it started, and there were many events happened. I remember there was an event in Mumbai with name Azure Tech Day.
Yes, I remember
Azure
that.
Tech Day.
Yes.
And all the speakers were from Microsoft, and there was one session on Q&A Maker.
Okay.
It was very new service at that time, and the way they presented it and the way the entire session went on, it was like, that was, you can say, it could be a trigger point for me, because straight away I went home and I started with, we got some passes at that time for subscriptions and all.
Yes.
And I started with that service. I created my first bot, and I was very much happy, like, okay, I can do these things. And from there it all started, right? Rather, my first book was on Q&A Maker.
Nice.
So it all about Q&A Maker, who started, and from where I got into this.
Yes.
So it was a kind of, it's not only my thought or my belief, but it was like, if I can do the things just because of attending the events and having these sessions, my second thought, like, I will run a community wherein I can, have such kind of interest with other developers. And I know many of the developers just need a kickstart.
100%.
And this events really helps them.
Yes, and I'll tell you a short story of mine, just to complement this. Is my spark was similar.
Okay.
I was a student at that time, and I attended a Dream Spark Yatra. It was a Microsoft event, and the similar thing happened. I went to that event, and I liked the way they used to give the session, and that inspired me so much that I went into the community. I started my own community in my region, and started giving sessions. So I agree to your point that yes, this helps a lot, and it also helps the community to grow with us, right? So what we are learning, the community grows and learns with them. Now, you mentioned one thing, which is you attended an event out here, right? We had a lot of questions around running around this, is whether you should go and because now today, if I tell you, there are so many videos on YouTube, on Twitch, everywhere, wherever you go, Udemy, you have courses. Pluralsight, you have courses. So, would someone in the community go and join more webinars, or they go into in-person events like what we have come here today for, right? So, what do you think? In which scenarios webinars would be more important for developers, and in which scenarios in-person events would be more beneficial?
See, I would prefer in-person for a developer.
Okay.
Okay. There are multiple reasons, but the most important reason is to, it is much easier in an in-person event to interact with the speakers and get your things cleared if you have something, rather than in webinar. You can do that in webinar, but it's like when you talk someone in front and when you talk on a call or something, the impact
is
differs. Right?
Yeah.
So I would prefer that in-person is much better for a developer to attend, not only because they will get to get their things cleared in front or at the same time, but they can grow with the networks also, with their peers.
Yes.
The same, having same sort of aspirations, having same sort of career paths, but with different organization or from different regions. So in-person remains good because we interact, we come up with new ideas. When we discuss something, we come up with new ideas.
Correct.
In webinars, it is like it's just a one-to-one session for you. If the speaker is talking about, you are listening, you are asking the question, that's it. But yes, I prefer sometimes webinar. It's only because of the the expert or the person who is presenting is not available in person.
Yes.
Like there are many of Microsoft MVPs, or you can say SMEs, who are globally located, right?
Correct.
And they are always very helpful for all these sessions. So it is not always possible for them to travel here for a session and then go again. Of course, it's not. I'm not talking about any conference, but I'm talking about a kind of meetup which happens every month or so. So in that case, the webinars are always good. But if the speakers are nearby and we have a huge audience, like we do have we have keeping the sessions from after this COVID, post-COVID, it's an 5th or 6th session, and I believe we are consistently having 70 to 80 plus of audience. Like it's great. Like we need to now control some audience over here because of the capacity it has. So it's always good, and I can see many repetitive faces. It's not always new people are coming in. They are very keen to know the things. They are actually post this events, they are connecting with me, they are asking the doubts, they are doing the things and they are sharing it with me, their GitHub links and everything. So it is really, feel awesome. Like if you are doing something, you're trying to share something and they are utilizing it, that's really motivates.
That's correct. And the reason I asked you this question, so I'll give you some context in that. Because of COVID, this happened, right?
Yes.
Because, people were located in different regions, and we came up with more webinars. And that is the reason where, in some cases, you would like to learn Q&A Maker from the expert who actually created it, or maybe, contributed to that. So yeah, but I agree to your point that the connection or the network which you make in-person events, it's more beneficial for the developers. Now, just for the audience to know, Kasam is also an MVP in AI, and he has written already 4 books, if I'm not wrong.
4 books,
Yes, I would post the links of the books in the show description, so you can all go ahead and check out all the books. So Kasam, I wanted to know one more thing from you is, there are a lot of developers who are watching this video today, and one of the main reasons which we are talking here is to let them know what they can do to go and contribute to this community, how they can actually benefit from the community work. Because most of the people which I know or I have talked to them is like they don't know about these things happening. Like you said, right? It's growing, but still, if you see the community around, there are maybe more than 1,000 developers out here which doesn't know about these things happening. What do you suggest developers to how they can grow, and what can community activities benefit them?
Okay, so I will give you one example which happened in my community itself. Like 3 years or 2 years before, like before COVID, we started with the in-person events and even with the webinars and so. And after post-COVID, when we started the events, few of the speakers were the attendees of my first sessions pre-COVID.
Yes.
Okay. So that is one of the very relevant example you can say how they can grow or contribute to this community.
Correct.
Okay. So what they are trying to learn and to do it from themselves, like they try to work on something, you can say a project or any of the stuff which it's in their mind. They are the brain behind that stuff.
Yes.
If they want to showcase it, if they want to share it with what they have done, this community will help them. Right?
Correct.
They can. It's not a kind of like you have to be someone to present. No.
Yes.
If you know something, it's about sharing and learning. It's
That's
not
correct.
only about sharing, right?
Yes.
So if you present also, you learn something from the audience itself.
Right.
Like, okay, I have gone with these situations. You can do so and so,
Correct.
and then we can connect and solve the things.
Yes.
So many a times it happened. So I really feel this is the best one. Like many of my attendees are now speakers of my own community.
That's
Rather,
great.
it's an webinar, it's an in-person, and I will tell you. In many of the sessions which happens in Mumbai, I see many of the attendees coming from Pune.
Okay.
It's almost 150 kilometers from here.
Right.
But they travel it and they reach morning by 9 a.m.
Yeah.
So that is
That's one of
main
the good,
thing. Yeah.
Correct.
So this is happening because it's benefiting them, right?
Right.
It's nothing like they want to travel on weekends,
Yes.
right? So something is benefiting them. They are learning it. They are trying to upgrade their skills, and in current scenario, it's always it's better to be updated with all the skill stuff.
Yes.
Every day, if a person looks, it's a very simple stuff. If you look at Azure portal, 30 days back it was not the same as it today.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. Every
Every
day
there is something
there
is
is
happening.
Yes.
Every day.
Yes.
So it's always like you be on top of it.
Correct.
And the best thing is to attend this community events which is happening around you. At least you will come to know, you will not be an alien for the coming updates. And
Yes.
as the Ignite happened and this after parties and all this happening, it is just adding to their skills.
Correct. No, this is a very good point. So I think one last comment from you is where do you see the community going forward? Like what are your plans or
My community?
Yes, your community.
Okay.
Because to be honest over here, I have met Kasam I think 3 years ago, maybe three and a half years ago before COVID, and I've seen this Dear Azure community grow in this last 3-4 years from nothing to 10,000 people in the community, which is 10,000 plus people in the community.
Yeah.
So it's a very commendable job, and I want to know what is your next vision to actually take this community forward.
See, my vision is, when I started, it was very close to the COVID period, and then everything comes into webinars and all. Now it is, mostly I'm planning to continue with the webinars, but along with the in-person events, a kind of hybrid stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, because I don't want to stop that my webinar stuff. The reason behind is I have an audience outside Mumbai also, from
Yes.
Bangalore and Hyderabad and all, and I sometimes get a request saying that to have some in-person events over there.
Okay.
So my plans is to have this in-person events in different parts of country like Hyderabad, Bangalore, Vadodara and Delhi and all, NCR. Yes. Kind of. So one is that particular stuff, and yes, now I am focusing more into the certifications workshops, to conduct the workshops along with the boot camps which really happens, like
Yes.
Global AI boot camp, Global Azure boot camps and all. But if it is now in person, it will really help.
Correct.
And yes, to make more and more speakers, or
Yes.
rather more and more SMEs of particular areas and domains.
Right.
And if it's from my community, rather from our community, then it will be really helpful and a thing to a kind of satisfactory thing
Correct.
at the end.
Correct. That was great, Kasam. Thanks a lot for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
And I will post all the information about Kasam and what he has done, so you can actually go ahead, join the community, and follow Kasam. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank
Bye bye.
you. Bye bye.